Okay, so let us see about the fertilization takes place in the angiospermic plant. Up till now we have seen about the development of male gametophyte and the female gametophyte. Now those gametophyte, those are ready for the fertilization, and if they fuse with each other then the fertilization takes place. We have seen about the male reproductive organ of the flower. It is said to be androecium. It gives rise the male gametophyte in the form of pollen grain, and the gynoecium is a female sex organ. It produces the ovule as a female gametophyte. They fuse with each other and then the fertilization takes place. Let us see about the definition of the fertilization. The fertilization is the fusion of male gametes with the female gametes to form a diploid zygote. The both reproductive cell, male gametes and the female gamete, those are said to be haploid, and the haploid they fuse with each other and we get a kind of the fertilized product. It is said to be zygote. Zygote always said to be diploid in nature. Diploid means what? The two sets of the chromosomes are present. Okay, so double fertilization takes place in the most of the angiospermic plant. Last time we have seen about the angiospermic plants. Angiospermic plant means what? The seed bearing plant. So let us see about the double fertilization. As we have seen about the development of the male gametophyte before pollination and the after pollination, that initially the pollen grain, which is said to be having the single cell, then it undergoing the unequal cell division. We have seen the larger cell is said to be tube cell, smaller cell is said to be generative cell, and then again generative cell undergoing the cell division process. We get two generative cell, and both generative cell having their own nucleus. Those are acting as a male gametes. The one male gamete get fused with the egg cell of the egg apparatus. Then the first fertilization takes place. The second male gamete get fused with the second enucleated. Then the second fertilization takes place. So in this way, in the angiospermic plant, the fertilization takes place twice. That is why it is said to be double fertilization. So let us see about the stepwise. The after pollination, the pollen grain get germinate on the stigma to form their pollen tube, and then the pollen tube which is grow toward the ovule in the ovary, because those male gametes they are get attracted toward the female gametophyte in the form of ovule for the fertilization. So it is mainly get carried toward the ovule with the help of pollen tube. We have seen about the how exactly the pollen tube takes place at the germ pore site. Okay, pollen tube get enters in the ovule mostly through the micropyle. We have seen about the 7 cell 8 nucleated structure of the anatropous ovule. The micropyle, which is said to be opening where exactly the pollen tube gets entry, and when that particular wall of the pollen tube get dissolved, then the one male gamete which is get entry toward the egg apparatus. Okay, especially in the egg apparatus we have seen the 3 cell structure. The middle one cell is said to be egg cell, neighboring 2 cells are said to be synergid cell. The first male gamete get fused with the egg cell of the egg apparatus. Then the first fertilization takes place. Then second male gamete get fused with the second enucleated cell. Then the second fertilization takes place. So in this way, in the angiospermic plant, double fertilization takes place. Let us see about the first fertilization. It is also said to be syngamy. The one male gamete get fused with the egg cell. Another name to the egg cell, it is said to be oosphere, to form their diploid zygote, and that whole process or that fertilization which is said to be syngamy. Triple fusion or the second fertilization. As I told you earlier, the second male gamete which is get fused with the second enucleated cell to form their triploid primary endosperm nucleus. It is said to be PEN. Okay, why it is said to be triploid? We have seen about the second nucleated cell which is said to be diploid in stage, having two nucleated structure, and the the haploid male gamete get fused with the second enucleated cell. So in this way 2n plus n, so get together it is said to be 3n, and we call it as the 3 sets of the chromosomes are present, then it is said to be triploid. So this is also called as a triple fusion, especially in the double fertilization. So as per as the diagrammatic representation is concerned, we can easily make out the process of the double fertilization in the angiospermic plant. Look at the pollen grain. Once it is get deposited on the stigma region of the gynoecium, then pollen tube which is get extend and extend toward the female gametophyte. The male gametes get fused over there. Okay, so in the first fertilization we have seen about the first male gamete get fused with the egg cell of the egg apparatus. Okay, the second male gamete get fused with the second enucleated cell. So in this way the fertilization takes place twice in way. That is why it is said to be double fertilization. Let us see about the significance of double fertilization. The both male gametes are utilized, so those are not useless for the fertilization concept. As far as the fertilization is concerned, the both gametes are used over there. So that one male gamete get fused, then it is said to be first fertilization. Second male gamete get fused, it is said to be second fertilization. So both get used, that is why it is said to be utilized. Okay, diploid zygote develop into the embryo. So these are the certain the post fertilization changes. The zygote which is said to be fertilized product, it is initially unicellular, then it undergo in the multiplication of the cell division process, then when two or more than two cell zygote get formed, then it is said to be embryo. So the primary endosperm nucleus develop into the endosperm. Once the first fertilization takes place, then the zygote get formed. Zygote undergo in the cell division process, then it get converted in the form of embryo. When the second fertilization takes place, then second enucleated cell which is get developed into the endosperm, and this endosperm which is said to be nutritive in nature, it gives rise the all nourishment which is required for developing the embryo. Let us see the development of endosperm. As we have seen about it is said to be second fertilized product. It is said to be triploid nutritive in nature. The second fertilization or the triple fusion forms their PEN. The question used to ask in the exam, like the one line question, write the full form of PEN. PEN means what? Primary endosperm nucleus. Okay, it develops into the endosperm. Types of seeds, those are based on the endosperm, non-endospermic seed and the endospermic seed. Endosperm, if it is get used by for the embryo development, then it is said to be non-endospermic. Endosperm, it is used for the embryo development during the seed germination, then it is said to be endospermic seed. Okay, the question may be asked like this: distinguish between the endospermic seed and the non-endospermic seed. Then we can easily make out, we can easily distinguish them with the help of this type of the points. Okay, so it is absent in the mature seed, and such seeds are called the non-endospermic. Example we can give about the pea plant, beans, groundnut, etc. So as per as the endospermics are concerned, then we can say that the endosperm which is just present in the mature seed, such seeds are called as a endospermic. Example: castor, sunflower, coconut, maize, etc. The types of endosperm: nuclear endosperm. So endosperm, which is the first type of the endosperm, nuclear endosperm. The primary endosperm nucleated, that endosperm it undergo in the free nuclear division, like the karyokinesis, without cytokinesis. Karyokinesis means what? The division of nucleus. So it forms the several number of the nucleus. Okay, and the layer on the cytokinin occurs in the centripetal manner, and this forms the cellular mass. And most of the angiospermic plant, this type of the endosperm, those are said to be common. Second type, it is said to be cellular endosperm. Whichever type of the nuclei, those are get centripetally arranged to the cell, and those having their own cell, and that cell which is get formed by the cytokinesis process. Cytokinesis means what? Cyto means cytoplasm, kinesis means what? Division. So with the help of cytokinesis process, each and every nucleus which is having their cell like structure, it forms their cell like structure, cellular form like structure, okay, and it is normally found very less in nature in the dicot plant. Third type, it is said to be halobial endosperm. Primary endosperm nucleus undergo only first nuclear division followed by the cytokinesis, and it is divided into the large microvillar cell and a small chalazal cell, and the further cell, each cell develop into the nuclear type. So it is normally look like the halobial in nature. That is why it is said to be halobial endosperm. Embryo, we have seen about the zygote, how exactly the zygote get formed. Once the first fertilization takes place, then the zygote get formed. Zygote, which is said to be unicellular diploid in nature, it undergo in the several cell division process. Then when two or more than two cell structure of the zygote get formed, then it is said to be embryo, okay. So it is shown in the diagrammatic representation how exactly it is get developed to form their horseshoe or the mature tetrapod embryo, okay. So basically the zygote which is undergo in the certain the cell division process, then the basal cell which is said to be the basal cell and the apical cell, okay, then it undergo in the certain the several cell division changes. Then the globular embryo which is get formed, the heart shape embryo get formed. Upper cells are said to be suspensor cell, it gives rise the stalk like structure, and the final mature the embryo which is having the structure like the radicle, the plumule and cotyledon. Radicle give rise the root part, underground part of the plant, and the plumule give rise the shoot part, aerial part of the plant. Cotyledon, these are the certain the highly nutritious to both development. Cotyledon give rise the all nourishment which is required for the developing the new plant. So in this way the certain the steps are there, so that as I explained earlier. Then parthenocarpy, the fruits are formed without fertilization process. You must have seen about the number of the fruits you eat in our day-to-day life, okay. So this type of the fruits are said to be parthenocarpic fruits. Let us see about the example we can give about the grapes, banana. So whichever kind of the parthenocarpy process get conducted in the plant, that type of this fruit which is said to be seedless fruit, because the fertilization which is not takes place and the seeds are said to be fertilized product. In the absence of fertilization, all types of the process get conducted. That is why the seeds are totally absent. We can induce it with by apply certain the gibberellin like hormone. Next, it is said to be apomixis. The seeds are formed without fertilization, it is said to be apomixis. Most of the grasses are there, among them this type of the process get conducted. Then those type of the seeds are said to be apomictic seeds. Asexual reproduction mimics like this sexual reproduction in these particular cases, okay, but it is not true like the sexual reproduction. So example we can give about the different grasses. Next, polyembryony. So if the embryo which is more than 2, then the single ovule consists of more than 2 types of the embryo, then it is said to be polyembryony. So embryo develop from the diploid cell of the nucellus. Example we can give about the citrus variety types of the plant.